Hello everyone, welcome back to another riveting episode of The History of K-Pop Season 1, where we take you on a trip back in time to figure out just how K-pop became the industry it is today. Given that we're 19 episodes in at this point, I'm sure you can tell by now, it's a long trip back in time.
Back in my day when I was a youth.
With that, we should pick things back up from where we left off, right?
당연하죠.
In our last episode, we introduced you to the Fin.K.L members and how they became a group, and we discussed their mysterious debut date. In this episode, we'll continue by discussing the first 3 albums released by Fin.K.L, or I should say, their first 3.5 albums, as well as the promotional activities and stories that coincided with these albums. Now, that may not sound like a lot to go through, but it actually is a lot, and we've got even more albums to cover in the next episode as well. I mean, what did you expect? Legendary girl groups don't become legendary overnight. It takes a lot of work. Just like this series took a lot of work. Needless to say, we should get back to work. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
Let's go!
Alright, so now that we know how Fin.K.L came together, it's time to take a look at the showtime that Fin.K.L put on through their album promotions, and also see the amazing legacy the group has left in the history of K-pop. And of course, we'll start with their debut album. Fin.K.L's first album was released on May 20th, 1998, and was named Fin.K.Killing Liberty, Blue Rain. Remember, the first word is read as Fin, not fine. The promoted songs from this album include the title song Blue Rain, which sounds just like the album's name, and the follow-up songs 내 남자친구에게 and Ruby 슬픈 눈물. Oh, a fun fact, Blue Rain was actually remade by Girls' Day, which was done many years later. Fin.K.L's official debut stage actually came a few days earlier through SBS Inkigayo on May 17th, 1998, as we mentioned in our last episode, where they performed their R&B title song Blue Rain. Again, we're not sure about May 12th being the debut date because we couldn't find anything about it.
Nope.
But anyway, Fin.K.L achieved a fairly successful start with this song, believe it or not. Not only were they distinguished by the R&B style of their debut song, but also by their members' strong visuals at the forefront, such as in their music video and performances, which further helped them to stand out from their colleagues. They reached 2nd place on SBS Inkigayo, which is the highest rank they scored with this song, and 3rd place on MBC Music Camp as candidates for 1st place. Honestly, these achievements are not bad, or rather, quite good, for a newly debuted group. If anything, it's proof that they succeeded in gaining attention from the general public. However, both the members and their CEO felt like there was just a little bit missing from calmly singing an R&B ballad and simply being pretty. Now, how is being pretty simple? I would like to know. According to a Facebook post written by Hyun in 2015, which my researcher Jay could not find the actual post unfortunately, their CEO supposedly changed their direction drastically and processed work at the speed of light once he saw the lower than expected outcome of their debut song. Almost sounds like the laws of physics had to be defied to make Fin.K.L more successful. The initial plan from that point was to promote a follow-up hip-hop song called Shadow, but the CEO suddenly decided to scrap this plan. Instead, he made 내 남자친구에게 the follow-up song, which was a cute dance song that even the members themselves had forgotten about at this point in time. How convenient that you forgot.
하나, 둘, 셋.
As you might guess, the members expressed strong disapproval of promoting this song. I guess I can kind of see that. Again, in that same Facebook post from Joohyun, she said, "I still remember the day we filmed the music video. Wearing such stage outfits, lip syncing to such cheesy or corny lyrics. We thought back then, do we have to promote with this song from now on? We all hid how much we hated doing this, but who knew this would be a massive hit? From then on, it was non-stop climbing in popularity." Well, the market is very unpredictable from what I can tell. Despite how the members felt about the song, as we just mentioned, it caused a massive reaction from the public once their promotion started, as we just mentioned. Not only was it a massive hit, 내 남자친구에게 also became the song that can be thought of as the origin of the fairy concept for K-pop girl groups. With this song, Fin.K.L presented themselves to the public with the image of a Nuna next door who will stay by your side forever. That does sound a bit creepy in English. Anyway, the lyrics of the song depict a female friend who suddenly wore a skirt instead of pants and makeup instead of showing up in a bare face to appeal to her male friend, which we describe as a crush, while also proactively confessing her feelings to him. Dang, that is a lot of blue fonts.
너무 많아요.
Through promoting this song, Fin.K.L gained an immense amount of male fans at this time. In hindsight, it seems like it was worth changing the follow-up song. Now, you might be wondering how many male fans, or fans in general, Fin.K.L had attracted, given that this is still the group's debut album promotion. Remember when we said it was worth changing the follow-up song? Well, if you thought that we meant it lightly, you couldn't be any more wrong. But instead of talking about the actual number of fans, which is hard to do anyway, we're going to tell you guys just how many copies of their debut album were sold. Are you guys ready for this? The success of this song led to an increase in album sales, from however many Blue Rain managed to sell, to around 400,000 copies during the follow-up song promotions. This allowed the group to reach first place on music charts for 2 consecutive weeks. Even to this day, it is a song that is still very popular to sing at karaoke by women in a wide range of ages. Except the song has a lot of high notes, so I wonder if their vocal cords are alright. As their very successful promotions with 내 남자친구에게 came to an end, Fin.K.L had to decide whether their debut album promotions would end there, or to continue on with another follow-up song. Normally, things would end here, but they ultimately chose the latter option and promoted a second follow-up song called Ruby, which marked their return to the ballad genre. The song also allowed the group to transform their image, once again, to a more innocent and pretty image, which demonstrated their ability to show more than the girl next door image. Like with their previous promoted song, Ruby allowed Fin.K.L to win over even more male fans, as if the initial batch wasn't already enough, which helped them reach first place once again, but this time for 5 weeks, despite this being the second follow-up song of their debut album. You can't deny that's pretty impressive. Finally, Fin.K.L wrapped up the promotions for their debut album in November of 1998, which is about 6 months after it was released. That makes it quite a long album promotion for sure. Okay, let's move on to the next year. In April of 1999, Fin.K.L held a ceremony to establish their official fan club and released their second album titled White the following month on May 12, 1999. The album included the title song, 영원한 사랑, and a follow-up song called 자존심. As for the title song, in simple terms, 영원한 사랑 is basically the definition of Fin.K.L. That's how popular this song was. It's likely the first song that pops into people's heads when they think of Fin.K.L. And it's so catchy that it probably won't leave their heads either. Not only did the song garner them more male fans, but it united those fans so much to the extent that if someone did not know Fin.K.L, likely among males, they were seen as a spy. Basically, you have to be a spy from elsewhere to not know about Fin.K.L when they were that popular. During this time, the group caused many girls in the general public, who were extreme fans of boy groups at that time, to be jealous as they were worried that Fin.K.L and the boy groups might be involved in a dating scandal. I mean, even now we can kinda understand that to a certain extent. That being said, many of those girls performed 영원한 사랑 on stage at various school festivals. Apparently, at one particular festival, 20 out of 22 of the teams performed this song, and it drove the MC insane. We can understand why. In addition to being insanely popular, the song became the pinnacle of their fairy style concept that basically combined the cute and innocent images they had presented with previous songs like 내 남자친구에게 and Ruby. With their concept, lyrics, stage outfits, choreography, MV, and stage backgrounds, you could say that as much cuteness as possible was packaged into the 4-minute song. This is what made them stand out amongst girl groups and brought them to the forefront. To support that claim, 영원한 사랑 scored a triple crown for Fin.K.L on KBS Music Bank, MBC Music Camp, and SBS 인기 가요, and also won them the King of Kings title on KBS Music Bank. Wait, shouldn't that be Queens? On top of that, the song won first place for 5 weeks overall. Needless to say, it's considered a song that everyone knows in Korea, along with other songs like 서태지인 Boy's 난 알아요, H.O.T's Beat and Candy, Wonder Girl's Tell Me, and Psy's Gangnam Style. Please ignore the generational gaps between all those songs, however. Just like a lot of popular songs, 영원한 사랑 had a few signature parts, one of which is when Joohyun raises her pinky finger and says 약속해줘, or promise me in English, at the beginning. Another one is the chorus when they sing 항상 나의 곁에 있어줘, or stay beside me always in English, along with the choreography for that part. If you guys haven't noticed already, this actually is in the intro clip for this video. That part is known as the most famous part of the song, as many people know and remember the choreography for it. That also includes me. It is really a testament to how popular it was, and it's also a part that's fairly easy to learn. It can be said that this was the first girl group song that ever had a choreography move go mainstream with the general public. To put this into context, the next song to reach this level of craze was Wonder Girl's Tell Me, which happened about 8 years later. And as a parallel to the rivalry between SM's H.O.T and DSP Media's Jack's Kiss, Fin.K.L also was now seen as a true competitor to SM Entertainment's SES, once 영원한 사랑 became a massive hit. The CEO must have been really happy. From July 1999, Fin.K.L began to promote their follow-up track.
다시 해볼까?
From July 1999, Fin.K.L began to promote their follow-up track, 자존심, which pretty much solidified the cute concept for them. That sounds contradictory? It also became quite popular as it scored first place on music charts for 2 weeks, even when other really popular singers like Jung-hwa and Yangpa were competing for that spot. Talk about fierce competition.
This is competition.
After this point, the group wrapped up their promotions for their second album, which sold around 590,000 copies. It's also at this time that Fin.K.L held their first concert, which happens to be the first solo concert held by a girl group. That is a great record to hold. The event drew a large audience of 8,000 fans, which is a lot of fans. A few months later, the group released a special album, literally titled Special, on November 24th, 1999. It is referred to as their 2.5th album, according to researcher J. And the promoted songs were the title song 나의 왕자님께, To My Prince, and two follow-up songs called 가면의 시간 and White, or White. Each of these songs were promoted for a month, which is quite long for a special album, and to no one's surprise, the title track 나의 왕자님께 easily scored first place on all three broadcasting stations' music shows. Although White did not get much promotional support like a music video, it is still well known as a popular song for the winter season. Even groups like Oh My Girl, Happy Boy Researcher J, and 구구단 have done remake versions of the song. While promoting the song 가면의 시간, Fin.K.L showed off a sexier concept, but the fans were quite opposed to this actually. Considering the members' ages and the conservative mindset of the public of this time period, fans likely felt like it was a little bit too early to attempt this mature concept. But it served as a teaser for their next album. Spoiler alert. In total, their special album sold around 450,000 copies, which makes this album's sales figure just a little less special compared to the rest of Fin.K.L's albums. Yes, pun intended. 1999 was a good year for the group as this was when they were most popular and well known with the general public. Between their promotions, they filmed a lot of commercials, which reflects the group's immense popularity, and were very active on various TV shows as well. At the end of that year, Fin.K.L received the grand award at both the Seoul Gayo Daesang and SBS Gayo Daejeon. Sounds like a good way to end the year. After Fin.K.L experienced a massive rise in popularity in 1999, the group continued their promotions without getting much of a break before their comeback, some of which included overseas concerts as well. This sounds very familiar to their label mate. Supposedly, the agency was treating the members better following the period of Jack's Kiss's disbandment, but they still took away the group's resting period. On October 6, 2000, the group released their third album titled Now. The album included two promoted songs, which were the title song Now and the follow-up song Feel Your Love. Those two title songs almost sound like an actual sentence, if you see what I mean. This was at a very competitive time within the K-pop industry, with newly released albums from H.O.T, G.o.d, Without the Boys, and Jo Sung-mo becoming million sellers. Songs like Park Ji-yoon's 성인식, g.o.d's 거짓말, and Lee Jung-hyun's 와 also created new crazes in the industry as well. Fin.K.L had ended up taking a longer but strategic resting period after their previous album for several reasons, including the numerous comebacks from these popular artists we just mentioned. Of course, it's important to choose the best time for a comeback, and it's usually best to avoid competing with other popular artists in order to achieve the best possible results. Another reason for the resting period was the group's endless schedules, as this left the group and the agency less time to focus on album production. It sure sounds like it was a necessary break for them. During this resting period and when the group appeared on variety shows on TV, the members were showing off a more authentic side of themselves that was more outgoing and bubbly, which would translate to being Beagle-like in reality. This is the polar opposite of the fairy concept the group had previously been pushing. To no one's surprise, having a big gap between their true personalities and their stage personas led their fans and the public to be slightly confused. And we're not surprised by this. But once Fin.K.L wrapped up their Beagle-like showcase time on variety shows and returned to the stage with the title song Now, the group showcased a much stronger choreography and rhythm compared to the past, completely swapping out the innocent fairy concept they debuted with for a sexier one. Say goodbye to the past. The fans worried at the time whether this new concept would suit the group well or not, but no one needed to be worried as this album turned out to be a massive hit for the group, once again. Despite their drastic change in concept, the overall theme of this album and song evoked the aura of career women, which allowed Fin.K.L to showcase a more mature image. Where did this change take the group, you might ask? Well, the group went on to score first place 5 times with Now, and once with Feel Your Love on numerous music charts, even while promoting alongside popular groups like H.O.T and g.o.d. Fin.K.L also went as far as to receive the King of Kings title at SBS Inkigayo. Again, Queens might be the better word here. Fin.K.L saw some changes through this album promotion. First, this promotional period was also when the group began to attract more female fans, unlike their previous albums which attracted waves of male fans. And H.O.T in particular started to gain more attention and popularity compared to previous albums. It was at this time that she started to solidify her image and concept as a sexy diva, which she is still known for today. In our opinion, the fairy-like concepts from previous albums were more suited for Membies.
다시 해볼까?
In our opinion, the fairy-like concepts from previous albums were more suited for members like Yuri or Jin. Although H.O.T was able to embody the fairy image too, she had a different vibe from the other members, which started to be showcased more during the third album. As a matter of fact, the focus of this album was mainly on her. Now that's what we call a spotlight. After Fin.K.L achieved another massive success with Now, they promoted their follow-up song, Feel Your Love. This song retained their new sexy concepts and garnered them a lot of attention due to their various stage outfits when performing it. Unfortunately, Fin.K.L was not able to conclude their album promotions for this album properly, as Joo-hyun injured her leg while filming a TV show for KBS. I guess this injury must have been quite severe as she had to use a wheelchair for upcoming schedules, which included the group's celebration for their 1000th day anniversary. Despite the group not being able to wrap up their promotions properly, it did not affect how successful this album was. As evidence, the album sold about 441,000 copies. Actually, this sales figure took sales from early 2001 into account as well. But we assume that even before 2001, this sales figure would have been on the same magnitude as the reported number, given the exponential trend album sales exhibit in general. But let's be honest, 441,000 is not a small number, and it became pretty standard for Fin.K.L anyway. And just like that, we've come to an end to our second episode on Fin.K.L. Today's episode was relatively simple. Relatively. as we talked about the group's album promotions from 1998 to 2000, and what put Fin.K.L on the rise to an immense amount of popularity. In the next Fin.K.L episode, stay tuned to learn about the continuation of their promotions and the group's long resting period. If you guys are curious why we said long resting period, make sure to tune in next time. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Before we close off here, we want to leave you guys with 2 questions. Did you think it was impressive that the CEO decided to change the follow-up song promotion for the first album? And were you surprised when the group transitioned into a more mature concept later on? It was definitely a big change from their earlier songs, but I personally think the risk paid off. Anyway, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and feel free to tell us anything we might have missed or if anything needs to be corrected. Also, please leave any questions you have throughout the season on any particular video in the series, as we're planning to have a special review or Q&A episode at the end of this season. As always, thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you want to tune in next time, and remember to stay awkward. Bye!